Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so today, what I wanted to cover are a couple of things actually. The numbers, how to ask a question about, for example, like how much, how many, which you use kam for that, and also mamnu minas sarf, which is probably a brand new concept for you about the Quran. I think the rest probably have heard about it before because we mamnu minas sarf. Just remember, but we went through it in book one with Sheikh Yusuf. Okay, so I have to go just before Isha because as usual on Thursday my wife and daughters attend Shia Wayaman class, so I have to go there. So I see. But let's see how far we can go. All right, so numbers. In Arabic, numbers are quite complicated. 1 and 2 has a different rule. 3 to 10 has a different rule. 11, 12 slightly different. 13, 19 different. 20 different. So a lot of rules, unfortunately, for us. But for book 2, we are only going to learn up to 10. So from 1 up to 10 in book 2. And book 3 we will learn until 30. 30 is 1 second. But for book 2 is until 10. So first to introduce the concept, when a number is called adad. So if I go here, let me just make this a bit bigger. Oh, adad, number. So you say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's numbers. That's adad. Okay. And then the one that is being counted, let's say for example you say 6 pages. That pages is actually the ma'dud. It's called the noun being counted, ma'dud. So adad and ma'dud. Okay. So that's first concept I want to introduce. The definition of adad and ma'dud. Okay. So with the number 1 and number 2, and this is why I keep on saying that the rules are actually important, because here you will see that it is saying number 1 and number 2 is actually using not man'ut, the concept of not man'ut, where basically the number, the adad, is the adjective of the ma'dud. So you want to say one boy is basically boy 1, because remember not man'ut, the man'ut is actually the at the front, right? Man'ut and na'at, same thing, ma'dud and adad. Okay, so then everything has to match. So the in this case is basically just like you will say a brother, akhun, brother, one, wahidun. So that means one brother. You might be wondering, isn't akhun is already one brother? Why you have to say akhun wahidun? So number 1 and number 2 is kind of special. Most of the time you don't need to say it because people know. Let's say for example, if you say fana fundu qani, you already know it's 2 hotels, isn't it? Why do you have to say? Why do you have to add adad behind it? But the reason for you to add the adad for number 1 and number 2 is just for emphasis. Let's say for example, someone say there are 5 brothers. No. There is 1 brother. Something like that. So otherwise, then all the time we were in book 1, we were saying, let's say a cat, a car. We didn't have to say one car, right? It's only when you have to emphasize. That's the only, I guess, time that where you would use it. So let's say I have 1 brother. Li akhun wahidun. I have 1 brother. Like you're emphasizing that you have 1 brother. Like someone say, do you have 2 brothers? No, I have 1 brother, as an example. So that's how you will use it. And then the other one for number 3 and number 10 is actually mudaf ilayh. So instead of saying, let's say 3 boys, it's actually 3 of boys. Get it? Instead of saying 3 boys, I repeat, I'm saying 3 of boys. It's a mudaf ilayh. Okay, so the example there, salasatu mudaf, cannot have tanwin, cannot have alif lam, cannot have tanwin. Salasatu instead of salasatun, which is the normal version. Salasatu, and then ikhwatin, because this is mudaf ilayh, so it has to be majrur. Get it? So again, same rule. There's not much, but have to kind of practice, I suppose. And obviously the vocab you have to kind of memorize. Not sure whether you guys are familiar with the numbers already, like thalatha, arba'a, khamsa, sitta, sab'a, thamaniya, tis'a, ashara. So all of those are unfortunately vocab. Kind of have to every time for now.
With mudaf ilayh,
Mm.
it had to be a non-proper.
No. If you go back to book number 1, we never say mudaf ilayh must be proper. We never say that. Was there any rule that I said mudaf ilayh must be proper? No, right?
Okay.
I said mudaf ilayh, there's only one rule. It has to be majrur. That's all. Get it?
And it doesn't have to have alif lam.
No. We never said, if you recall, when we say book 1, mudaf ilayh, I never say,
Only must be majrur.
oh yeah, that's the only rule that I said, right? Yeah, so same thing here. It doesn't have to be. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. So that's why the rule must be clear. When I say mudaf ilayh, I always say, what's the rule of mudaf ilayh? Must be majrur. Done. I never say it must be proper, right? Yeah. And then, yeah.
The mudaf ilayh can be in a proper position.
Can.
But it's still in majrur.
Mudaf ilayh, the only rule for mudaf ilayh, it must be majrur and it must be right after the mudaf. It cannot be separated. That's basically the only two rules, if I can say it that way. It must be together. It cannot be like far apart, like multiple words between it. Cannot. All have to be right to each other, and mudaf ilayh must be majrur. And mudaf, as you guys know, cannot have alif lam and cannot have tanween. So that's one thing. Now the other thing that makes it a bit more complicated or a bit difficult to remember is all this while we have been saying that the gender have to match. Now man'ut have to match. Mubtada khabar must match, right? This one, it must be opposite. Why not? This is the only one so far that we have learned that it must be opposite. Remember that we say mubtada khabar, gender and number must match, right? We say not manun, all four properties must match, right? We say ismu syara, musyar ilah, all four properties must match. If we say hadha kitabun, it's not like hadhihi kitabun, right? Everything must match. Match. This one, no match.
Not just no match, opposite.
Opposite, yes. Has to be opposite. The gender has to be opposite.
So if I have to say 3 paternal aunts,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say salasun amatin.
Thalathu. Ammatin, yes. Ammatin. So ammun, ammat.
Who will be with paternal uncles in this example?
Uh-huh.
So it's salasatu.
3 uncles. Thalathatu.
Salasatu amin, 3 uncles. And
Amin.
salasu
Thalathu.
amatin,
Ammatin.
3 aunts.
3 aunts. Correct. So if I zoom this out a little bit, you'll see that it's exactly as Brother Khurram say, but this is on the brother and sister. Actually, sorry, I forgot one thing. That's why I was hearing something wrong just now. Sorry, let me take a step back. In order for you to do this rule, you also must make sure the ma'dud, the one being counted, has to be in plural form. I forgot about that, sorry. So it's not, let's say amun is a'mamun, I think, the plural version. You have to use the plural version. So let's say, for example, let's use a more easy example. Let's say, for example, books. Yeah, you want to say books is kitabun, right? So kitabun, you have to use. Okay, let me take a step back as well. First, you have to look at the singular version, whether it is masculine or feminine. Okay, so we know kitabun is masculine, right? So kitabun is masculine. Now you know that the number must be feminine because it must be opposite. Okay. Now you have to change kitabun to the plural version, which is kutubun. Okay. That's kind of one step or two step done. Now we say the gender must be opposite. So if we want to say 3, we can't say thalathu because then that will match the gender, right? So now in this case we have to use thalathatu. Then kutubun have to be majrur. Thalathatu kutubin. Get it? If I want to say 4, arba'atu kutubin. If I want to say 5, khamsatu kutubin.
And if I want to say the 5 books,
That one
And then if you want to say,
later. That one's a bit more difficult. Hakibatun. Yes, okay, 5. Okay, yes, okay. Try 5 back. So how you say 5 back? Hakibatun is the actually no, because we don't know the plural version of hakibatun. Do you know the plural version? Okay.
No.
Because you missed the last class, so I don't know whether you know the plural. Do you know the plural of hakibatun? Want to try? It's actually quite easy.
I know
But the rule for the haki batun.
Batani.
No, haki batani. Haki batun. Sayaratun.
Yes.
Sayaratun. Remember we had the atun at the end?
Right.
Salajatun. Right? Sayaratun. I don't know whether hakibatun then. Okay, so hakibatun is the plural, yeah? Alright, so how do you do it? Okay, so hakibatun is one part done. How do you say, want to say 5, is it? 5 bags.
Whichever number, yeah.
Yeah, so let's say 5.
So it'll be haqibatun.
Hakibatun, that's the plural version, okay?
The ta is the tam of butaha or is just
This is the tam of tuha. It's the open ta. So,
the open tie, yeah? But
yeah, the open one.
you know it's a feminine word, so you say thalathu haqibatu haqibati.
Yeah, so salasu.
Thalathu haqibati.
Good. Salasu hakibatin. So let's say, I'll just put the, let's say sayarah, yeah? So sayyaratun. Okay? So that's the plural version. The with the ta, that's the open ta, the one I was saying, the open ta.
Tam of butaha.
When it becomes plural, you have to open it. Just the rule. You cannot use the ta marbuta anymore. Okay? So that's one of the easy rule for us as well. If let's say the feminine word end with ta marbuta, you can just put atun. Like sayaratun, sayaratun. Salajatun, salajatun.
Oh,
Yeah, you just add alif and then ta open ta. Right? So that's why just now hakibatun. Okay, get it?
yeah.
Okay, let's try more example. Let's say you want to say 6. I don't know whether you guys know the vocab yet, but yeah, good. So you want to say 6 cars. How do you say 6 cars?
Sittu sayarati.
Situ sayarati
Tin.
tin. Situ sayaratin. I want to try brother Zubair 7. You know 7? Sabun. Sab'atun is the feminine. Sabun is the yeah. So how do you say 7 cars?
Sab'un.
Sabun.
Sab'un.
Sabun. Because mudaf, right?
Yeah.
Mudaf cannot have tanwin.
Sab'un.
Sabu.
Sayarati.
Sayarati.
Tin.
Tin. Sayaratin.
Sab'un sayarati.
Sayaratin. Okay.
Yeah.
4. You know 4? Arba. Yeah.
So for arba.
Arba. I need to hear the harakah. Arba. Arba'un. Sayaratin. Okay. 8. You know 8?
This
No.
it's 9, eh?
9 is this one. Sama. Oh, by the way, samani. So, is samaniyatun. Actually, I should have mentioned it. Sorry, let me just go back because I didn't mention it just now. And you might not realize that 8 is a bit different. Okay, let me bring your attention to the numbers, yeah? Look at the adat, yeah? Look at the numbers. Salah satu, salasu. So it's just missing the tamar buta. See that? Salah satu, arba'atu, arba'u, yeah? Khamsatu, khamsu. All missing the tamar buta at the end, yes? So this one, it is also missing the tamar buta, but remember that it's samaniya. So when it is missing the tamar buta, it's actually samani. It's not samaniya, it's samani. When it's missing the tamar buta, it becomes samani. So that's one thing that is different. Okay? The other thing that is different, if you see here, number 10, asharatu, but then it's not asharu or ashara, it's ashru. So number 10 is slightly different as well. It's not just missing the tamar buta. There's actually there's a slightly different changes to the word itself. Again, it's just vocab thing. When we practice more, inshallah, that we can remember. So only number 8 and number 10 is slightly different. So samaniyatu, samani, asharatu, ashru. Okay? Alright, so let's try again. So brother Rosman, number, what did we say? 8 cars.
It is samani
Samani,
sayaratin.
sayaratin. Okay? Let's try.
Sorry.
Yes?
So you said thamani.
Yes?
Can you say thamaniyu?
Samaniyu, no. Samani.
So it doesn't change even though it's mudaf. It won't change.
Nah. So the 8, number 8, masculine is samani. It's not samaniyu. It's samani. Because the new sounds weird. They don't like weird sound. EU, anything to do with EU, definitely there's not going to be EU in Arabic. Because they don't like EU sound. EU. So it's samani.
Blame the Arabs.
That's why it's samani. It's not samaniyu. Okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's do a bit more. If I want to say, so you can refer to this, it's okay, refer to that if you want to, just because of the vocab. But if you want to say, 4 tables, how do I say 4 tables?
Maktabin.
That's not the plural version. Don't know whether you know the plural version though.
Makatibin.
Makatibin.
Maka tibu.
Makatib.
Actually, that's a bad example. Is it a bad example? Yes, it is a bad example. Sorry, I can't use table because we haven't learned mamnu minas sarf. I can't use chess as well because we haven't learned mamnu minas sarf. What are the plural that are not broken? I want to use the male one, but
Farmer.
farmer. Yeah, we can use farmers, I suppose. Oh no, we can't use farmers because we haven't learned the mudafilai for farmers. The majorur version for farmers. Let's just use another
Sarir.
symbol.
Sarir.
Okay, yeah, good one. Okay, let's say 4 beds. How do we say 4 beds? Arba'atu.
The plural version of sarir.
Plural version, yeah.
Sururin.
Sururin.
Masya Allah.
Yeah, so sarirun. The plural is sururun, right? So sarirun. Good. Saririn. Sururin. Sururin. Are there more words? Brother Zubir? I can't remember what are the other plural version.
Kolamun.
Kolamun. Kolamun can, yeah, Kolamun. Let's say one apa, want to say, actually Kolamun, I remember now. I want to say 7 rooms. How do I say 7 rooms? Sabu'u?
Sab'u ghurfataini.
No.
What's the
So I think there's two version of the plural. I think one is ghuruf. No, ghorfun, I think. Ghorfun, and then the other one is ghuruf, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember now. Actually, I also forgot. But basically, what I wanted to point out is that if let's say you just look at the plural version, which is like ghorfun, if I'm not mistaken, it might look like a masculine word. Ghorfun, if you just look at ghorfun, it looks like a masculine. But you need to remember, you have to look at the single version, which is gharfa. You know, gharfa is actually feminine, right? Because it's tamar buta. But when it became plural, it lose the tamar buta, and you might think, oh, it's actually, yeah, but it's not. Yeah. So just wanted to highlight that. Okay, so that's basically the rule for the numbers. The adat and ma'dud for number 1 and number 2 have to be not man'ud, and mostly being used for emphasis, tawkid. The number 3 to number 10 is the opposite. The gender have to be opposite as mudaf mudaf ilayh. So the mudaf is the number, the adat. The ma'dud is the mudaf ilayh. It has to be plural, has to be majrur. Okay? So hopefully that's not too confusing because we did spend a little bit more time on the mudaf ilayh and all that in book 1. So hopefully that's not too complicated. Okay, then the second one that I want to show is kind of related to numbers as well, but it's actually asking questions. So let's say, for example, you want to say how many books, yeah. So the word how many in Arabic, or how much, depending on whether it's countable or uncountable in English, right? So how many is kam, kaf and mim, kam. The rule is the ism after kam, it must be, although in English you say how many books, plural, right? But in Arabic, it has to be singular. And also has to be mansub. Anyone remember what is mansub? Fathah. Fathah. Yes? So if let's say I want to say how many books, I would then say kam kitaban. Kam kitaban. And I'll give you some example here. See that? Who wants to try to translate that? Kam kitaban alal maktabi. That should be easy one to translate. How many books are on the table? How many books are on the table? Kam kitaban. And there's another rule as well that I haven't mentioned to you guys. You see here, there's an extra alif. It's kitabun. It's supposed to be kitabun, isn't it? By default, it's kitabun, yeah? And then when it becomes kitaban, if the letter is not alif or hamzah or ta marbutah, you have to add alif at the end. Let's say, for example, just now you say shukran in the, there's an alif at the end, right? Because it's raw. It cannot have, it cannot just end like that without alif. Shukran, right? Ahlan wa sahlan. All has alif at the end.
Yeah.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. All have alif at the end. Because it has fathatain, and it cannot end like that without an alif supporting it. However, if it's ta marbutah, like ajalah, it doesn't have to have alif because it's part of the hamzah, alif or ta marbutah. You don't have to add alif at the end. Okay? Makes sense. Right? Sorry? Ma'an. Oh, ma'un. Yeah, ma'an, yeah. It doesn't have to have alif. Yeah, mortar, yes. Ma'an. Ta marbutah, alif and hamzah. Yes. Yes. Okay? So let's say, for example, let's do a little bit more practice. So you want to say how many cars? How do I say how many cars?
كم سيارة
Kam sayaratan. Okay. So the singular version and masuk sayaratan, and then remember the because sayaratan is a cerita marbutah, you don't have to add alif at the end. Yeah, sayaratan. I want to say how many hotels? Kam?
Fundukin.
Not kin.
Handukan.
Fundukan.
Fundukan.
This is not mudaf ilaih.
Yeah.
what's the word?
Fundukun is hotel.
Okay.
So fundukan. Yeah, qaf with the fathatain, alif. Fundukan. I want to say how many tables?
كم مكتبا
Kam maktaban. Right? With an alif. I want to say how many pens? Kam qalaman. Got it, brother Rosman? Okay. If I want to say how many rial?
كم ريالا
Kam rialan. Okay.
Riyalan with a
With the
alif.
alif. Rialan. So rialan.
لم ألف
Lam and alif.
Yeah. So like rialan. Like that, or the like that. Either way, same. Yeah, rialan. Okay. So that's basically how to ask the question. So it's kind of related to the topic of numbers. That's why I put it in there. So now you can probably make a question. Let's say, for example, how many wheels does the car have? As an example, we can start to build sentences like that. How many books are on the table? How many rial is in your pocket? As an example. So we can do sentences like that with the come. It's a question. And obviously I'm gonna put that in the homework. Okay, so that's come, and that's the numbers. Before I go into the mamnu minas sarf, let's go back to the numbers. A little bit more practice just to make sure that you guys don't forget. So if I want to say one brother, because we didn't actually do the one thing. One brother, how do I say one brother? Akhun wahidun. If I want to say one sister, no akhun. Ukhtun?
Ukhtun. Ukhtun wahidun.
No wahidun. Wahidatun. Okay? Ukhtun wahidatun. And if you realize, we didn't drop the tanwin from ukhtun and akhun. Why? Because it's not mudaf. Remember the 1 and 2 is actually manut. Yeah? So there's no reason for you to drop the tanwin. So it's still akhun, it's still ukhtun. So I want to say one book, I will still say kitabun wahidun. Yeah? If I want to say one car, I will still say sayaratun wahidatun. Tanwin, still at the end. Everything match. Yeah? Okay. Alright. So those are the easy one for today actually. The harder one is the mamnu minas sarf for today. So mamnu minas sarf is under the flexibility section, which is
Slide number?
slide number, where am I now? 7. No, no, sorry. Non-flexible. 9. So number 9. Okay. So, uh, mamnu, I think it roughly means prohibited, if I'm not mistaken. So, mana'a, mamnu. So, basically, mamnu min sarf, it is prohibited from sarf. So, in a way, there are some rules that it is not going to follow. So, mamnu min sarf is basically a word that cannot have tanween. So far we learned a couple of things, right? That cannot have tanween. We learned that mudaf cannot have tanween. We learned that if a word has alif lam, it cannot have tanween. Yes. So this is another one that we're learning now. Another reason why something cannot have tanween, and it is called mamnu min as-sarf. So the another rule for mamnu min as-sarf is that other than it cannot have tanween, it cannot be, it cannot has kasrah. It can be majrur, but it can never be kasrah. What I mean by that is an example. One of the category of mamnu min as-sarf is non-Arab names, like Yusuf. I would say Yusuf. The name is actually non-Arabic names. So Yusufu is the rafa version. You cannot add tanwin at the end. Like all this while we say Muhammadun, we say Aliyun, everything has tanwin. But Yusuf, you cannot have tanwin. It has to be without tanwin. Yusufu. And then when it will become majrur, you would expect it will be like Yusufi. Because all this while we learn that when something is majrur, it has kasrah, right? The bottom one. But for mamnu min as-sarf, when it is majrur, it is actually fathah. So majrur be fathah. I think Brother Zubair remember about that. Majrur be fathah a little bit, yeah. So majrur be fathah. It is majrur but with fathah. Right?
How do you recognize whether a name is Arab or non-Arab?
So that's the difficult bit. Um, one tip that Sheikh Yusuf mentioned, I think you were the one who asked that question, if I remember. You were there in one class. You asked that question. How do you know whether it's non-Arabic names or not? I think you were the one.
I think it was Basim probably, but
Basim.
that was my first ever attendance. Or
Yeah, I think it was you though, because I remember that. Wow, this brother asked a good question. I remember that, so I think it was you. But anyway, you were there in the class, for sure. So
Definitely wasn't me.
yeah, so Sheikh was saying that for the non-Arabic names, usually there's no meaning. Arabic name there will be a meaning, like Muhammadun, the one being praised. He mentioned that. But obviously for us, how do we know? Because we don't know the vocab.
Anything in Quran and name is Arab for us.
Yeah. For us, it's everything is yeah. Like Ibrahim. Ibrahim is not even Arab names, because Ibrahim is before. Yeah, it's before that, right? So, like Ismail. Ismail also not an Arabic name. Nuh. Yeah. Okay. So that's the two rule. It cannot have tanween, and it cannot have kasrah. When it is majrur, it will actually be fathah. So that's basically the rule.
So what's the Rafa version of this? Yusuf?
Yusufu.
Yusufu.
Not Yusufun, Yusufu. Without the tanween.
And the Jar version will be Yusufan or Yusufa?
Rijal version, sorry.
The Majrur version.
The majrur version will be Yusufa. With the fathah. Yusufa.
Not Yusufan.
Not Yusufan, Yusufa. Also without tanween, because it can never have tanween.
Right.
Right? Okay, so that's the rule. Now we need to know what are the words that belong to mamnu min as-sarf. What are the categories? So now we know the rules, right? The rule is mamnu min as-sarf cannot have tanween and cannot have kasrah. But what are the words that belong to mamnu min as-sarf? There's a couple of categories. For those who have books, I think there's one long list for those who have book. It's under lesson 9, I think. Yes, lesson 9. Page 82 for those who have book. Page 82 is a long list of what are the the thing that has that belong to mamnu min as-sarf. But I have kind of summarized them in here.
Page 32?
82
8.
in the book. Book number 2. Yeah, so the one on your right, Brother Rosman, that long list. Yeah, so basically everything is there. Unfortunately, yeah, gonna have to memorize this as well.
So, wait, sorry. The vocabulary one? Is that what you're talking about?
No, the vocabulary, 82, the page.
It was pointers to remember.
Points to remember, not pointers to remember, points to remember. And you see there, That's number 1 to like number 8 at the bottom. The diptotes. The diptotes is actually the English word for mamnu minas sarf. I don't know why it's called diptotes, but number 1 to number 8, those are all the categories. But I also summarize it in here, and I'll go through it. Sorry?
I've got the book as well.
Yeah. So basically, we have talked about one non-Arab names. It's one of it. Yes. So there are also exceptions that make it get out of the mamnu minas sarf. So even non-Arab names, if let's say it has 3 letters and then the middle is a sukun, it can actually become following the normal rule again. So an example is Nuh. Nuh is actually not an Arabic names, but because of the fact that it has 3 letters, Nun, Waw, Ha, we make it a bit bigger, a bit smaller, is it? Nun, Waw, Ha, 3 letters, and the middle is sukun, then you can have the tanween again, and it follow the normal rule. Majrur will be kasrah, like that. Nuhin. Lut. Lut, same, 3 letters, right? And the middle is sukun. So that one is actually back to the normal rule. It's not mamnu minas sarf anymore. Yeah? So this is unfortunately more like a rule that you have to memorize. Not much of understanding, I think. This is more like, memorization of what are the rules. So that's non-Arab names. The other one is all feminine names. So just now we said all non-Arab names. The second category is kind of a subset for that. So if let's say, okay, now non-Arab names, everything is one bucket, right? Non-Arab names, everything, you put it as mamnu minas sarf. Now we talk about the Arab names. Okay, one category, big category, done. So now, Arab names. Arab names, if they are feminine, again, everything mamnu minas sarf. Aishatu, you never say Aishatun. In like if you read hadith and all that, you never say Aishatun. Fatimatu, not Fatimatun. So all the feminine names, even if it's an Arab name, because we said just now, non-Arab name is already done, yeah. So now Arab names, feminine, everything mamnu minas sarf as well. Okay, all feminine names, Zainab, whatever. But again, the exception is if there is 3 letter and the middle is sukun, it can get out of the mamnu minas sarf. Like for example, Hindun, Ha, Nun, Dal, and then middle is sukun, Hindun. So that one is Hindun, not Hindu, Hindun. Hindun, Hindan, Hindin. Okay? Yeah, Nuh is the non-Arab name, the one that we talked about. Yeah, same thing. It's just that this is feminine. Yeah, but the rule is exactly the same. Yes. Okay. So feminine names. The other one is we talked about the feminine names already. Yeah. So non-Arab names all mamnu minas sarf. Now Arab names we say feminine all will be mamnu minas sarf. Now a subset of that masculine. The masculine names, there are a couple of masculine names that will belong to mamnu minas sarf category, even for the Arab names. These are the names that end with ta marbutah, like Hamzah. Hamzah, it ends with ta marbutah, it's still going to be mamnu minas sarf because the word looks like feminine. Because the rule, in a way, you can kind of think of it, if the word looks like feminine name, although it's a masculine name, you can regard it as mamnu minas sarf as well. So Hamzah is one of the example. Yeah. If I go this way, Muawiyah is another example. Muawiyah, that's another example as well. Okay. Now that's the one of the category of the masculine name. The other one is if it ends with alif nun. End with alif nun. So there are some names, like for example, Uthman, Salman, Ramadan. Yeah, Ramadan is actually mamnu minas. No. Ramadan is not, I think. I'm not 100% sure because Ramadan is not adjective. I need to double check on Ramadan. I'm not too sure about Ramadan, to be honest. Is it Ramadan? I'm not too sure. To double check.
It's in the book.
Is it the book, is it? It's mamnu minas sarf? It is?
Within proper noun.
Okay. It's proper noun, is it? Yeah, okay. Because it's proper nouns. Yeah, okay. And then another one is if it follows the pattern of af'alu. Let's say, for example, ahmadu. It sounds like af'alu, right? Start with and then ha mim dal. Ahmadu af'alu. Ahmadu af'alu. Sounds similar, right? Ahmalu ahmadu. Right? Af'alu, ahmadu. So this one also is part of the mamnu minas sarf. It's quite a lot of rule, unfortunately. But the good thing is that even when we did the exam with Sheikh Yusof, he didn't ask even one mamnu minas sarf. If I remember correctly, he didn't ask even one.
This is a tip. It will not be in the exam.
Yeah, probably I'm not going to put it in exam. I think because it's too many things to remember. It's too many. So I think by time, inshallah, we can get more practice. But I think I'm not going to put it in the test as well because yeah, even she didn't put it in the test because it's too many to remember. So alif nun is one, af'alu. So let's say for example, just now of manu, and another one is if it is in the pattern of fu'alu, like Umar, Umaru is fu'alu Umaru. So the same, right? So Umar, although Umar is actually Arabic names, but because it has that pattern of fu'ala or fu'alu, it is a mamnu min as as well. Yeah. Now going to the next one. Sorry, this one, yeah, it's quite dry because so many rules. Proper names of places and proper names of things as well. I think Ramadan, I think, is one of the example that but the Zubair gave as well. But name of places like Makkah, Yathrib, if you realize, actually end with it doesn't have tanween at the end. Jahannam, which is yeah, hellfire. If you don't know Jahannam, oh, might be good for you. You don't know Jahannam because you always think about Jannah, but yeah. Uh, and the same rule apply as well. If let's say the name of the place has three letters and the middle is sukun, like Adenun, then it become proper again. It become a normal again. You follow the normal rule. It can have tanween, it can have majrur. Okay, just a little bit more. Pointers of broken plurals. So when you go through the Memrise app later on and when you practice more vocab, you will realize that some of the plural, it doesn't have tanween at the end. So like for example, that's why just now makatibu. That's why I took back the example of four tables because we can't use makatibu. It's gonna be makatiba. If you want to say three tables, you can't say makatibin because it's mamnu min asal. It follow that pattern mafa'ilu. So instead of normally you would say, for example, if let's say it's not mamnu min asal, you would say something like makatibin, right? Like kutubin, correct? So makatibu, you would think that oh maybe it's makatibin, but it's not. It's makatiba because when mamnu min asal, when it is majrur, it is fathah. Another example, if I want to say bicycle of Aisha, I would say darajatu Aisha ta. Because again, it is majrur, but it cannot show it's majrur in kasrah. The majrur is actually fathah. That's why when we were going to book one, I always say, when someone say, it is kasrah, no kasrah, majrur. Because majrur doesn't have to be kasrah all the time. It can be fathah as well, depending on the word. Okay? Yes. So let's say, for example, I want to say car of Fatima.
Sayyaratu Fatima.
Fatimata. Yeah? I want to say book of Ahmad. Ahmada. Kitabu Ahmada. Because Ahmada is one of the pattern just now. Yeah? So the reason why we are learning all of this is because of the majrur and because of the fact that you cannot have tanween. But unfortunately, we kind of have to remember all of the rules. Remember just now in one of the rules we say for the masculine name that end with alif nun, like Uthman, same thing as well. If let's say it's adjective that end with alif nun, it is also mamnu min as-sarf. Like kaslan, lazy, uh, Atshan, Ghadban, angry, all of that end with alif nun, all are mamnu min as-sarf. You cannot put tanween at the end. It cannot have majrur as well. It cannot have kasra. Okay. And then the last one is the adjective on the pattern of af'alu. Let's say, for example, there's a lot of colors, and we say this every day. Allahu Akbaru. We don't say Allahu Akbarun. The actual what do you call that? The actual writing is Akbaru, right? We say the azan, we say Allahu Akbaru, Allahu Akbar. not Allahu Akbarun, Allahu Akbaru. Because it follows that pattern. Akbaru, af'alu, akbaru. Okay? Yeah? So Akbaru, and it's kind of the same with the Ahmadu, just now, the name Ahmadu, it's the same pattern as well. Afalu, then Akbaru, all the colors like Aswadu, black, Aswadu, Akhdaru, Asfaru, all of those doesn't have tanween. All of those are mamnu minas sarf. Yes? Yeah. So that's basically the lessons today. This one is probably the most difficult one for today because it's so many rules that you have to remember. But like I said, probably it's not gonna be in the test because she also didn't question us on this one, if I remember correctly. But just know that there are some words that belong to this category that will become mamnu min asal, which means that it cannot have. What does it mean for mamnu min asal? And
And it has to be the custom.
yeah, you cannot have kasra as well. So when it's majrur, you have fatha. Right. So this one is a bit more challenging. We got a couple more minutes left. I think what I'll do, maybe we'll go to that homework. Wanna bring up your question?
Not a good example.
It's good for us to kind of review. I'll open up the.
Can you go through the homework questions and that first one? Well, I had a look at it and
Oh, the first one.
yeah, and I got overwhelmed and I closed it.
Have you gone through the second one? Not yet. The
No,
video.
the first one I went through. I haven't
Oh.
read I haven't listened to the video. I went
The first one.
through, and that's why I didn't send it through.
Yeah, yeah. Do I have the question in here? I don't have the question in here.
Do
I think I got. Let me see from Brother Kuram.
That was
your book or something. Not your book.
that was
Okay. I got it now.
those men reach most.
Alright, so the first one that we have there is those men are rich merchants. Oops. Those men are rich merchants. Right. How do we do that?
Those men.
So what are the phrase? What is the phrase? Or there are two phrases actually. There are two fragments in here. What are the two fragments?
So those men would be
Ism Mushara, Musharilai. And then rich merchant will be?
which merchant is
Manun. Right. Okay. So those men, how do you translate those men? What is those in?
those you say هذه الرجال.
No, not Hadi. So remember that I don't know what to do with
Yeah,
it.
there's that table, yeah.
Yeah, the table. Remember with the four haulai is for
It's for group. It's for group.
yeah for group, but is it for this or for those? Haulai.
Is for this one.
These.
For this?
These. Like hadi, hadihi, haulai. All of those are qarib. Yeah.
And then
For
tilka,
that, tilka, dhalika, and ulaika.
yeah.
Ulaika.
So you say ulaika.
Ulaika.
Okay. Ulaika rijalu.
Ulaika.
Ulaika rijalu.
Ikal rijalu.
Yeah. Ulaika rijalu.
Yep.
Um,
Merchants.
yeah, merchants. Tajir.
But plural is
Yeah, tajirun ghaniyun.
tujarun.
Tujarun aghniyau.
Aghniya'u. Tujarun aghniya'u.
Ooh.
Get it? Because it's not manu, right? So all four properties must match. So the plural of rich is aghniya'u. Merchant is tujarun. Okay? Then the second question is,
Second question, and then we'll try that.
this is your plural feminine classroom. It is big.
This is so. This one would be
Mm-mm. So you need to see. It is pointing to what? Is it pointing to?
It's one thing. It's pointing to one thing. So
Yeah, it is pointing to classroom, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
هذا
هذا
هذا فصلك
فصل.
Yo.
Your plural,
فصل
feminine. Key is for singular, isn't it? Feminine.
Kunna.
Kunna.
فصلكن.
No, firstly. Why firstly?
فصل is classroom.
Faslun is classroom.
فصل is classroom.
So what? First, what is that fragment? Your classroom. What fragment is that?
Your classroom is مضاف مضاف.
Mudaf mudaf ilayh, right? Classroom of yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Classroom of yours.
So faslu.
فصل فصلي.
Why firstly though?
No, you're right. فصل
Kunna. Kunna. Ka kumakum, ki kuma kunna.
You know what I need to do? I need to
That
go
table.
through that table.
Which is why I said that page 28, you have to memorize that page 28. Because all the attached pronoun, there's no way you have to memorize it.
Yeah, that table is where my problem is.
Yeah, yeah.
I always take that out on my phone before doing this. It helps.
Yeah. It's a different.
What's the app? Memorize?
No,
I'm just
the-
taking screenshots.
Yeah.
Of
I'm just taking screenshots.
That one, the page 28, the tables, the same table that we're talking about.
that
Yeah.
table, yes.
Yeah, yeah. It is big. So how do you say it is big?
Iya kabiratun.
Here? What are you referring to?
Who?
You're referring to the classroom, right? Classroom is masculine, right?
Huwa.
Wa kabi ratun.
Kabirun.
Yeah.
Who
Wa kabirun, right? Kabiratun is for feminine. Okay, I have to go actually, unfortunately. But unfortunately, I have to go. All right. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka.